Hi guys, welcome back to Mentour and yet another video podcast / cooking video. I hope you're all doing fantastic and that you've enjoyed my latest couple of videos. It's great to see your feedback. Thanks again for every one of you who are involving yourself in the videos, leaving comments, leaving likes, telling me what you want me to do. And especially when you're sharing my videos on Facebook, that has a fantastic effect on how this channel is being spread, and it spreads to thousands of people without me having to say or do anything. So thumbs up to you guys for that. Thanks a lot for your help. So today, as I am making some chicken wings and some pasta for me and the boys, I'm going to talk a little bit about type ratings. This is something that I'm getting continuously a lot of questions about. People are asking me what the type rating is, if they should pay for one themselves, if it's good that it's part of their aviation training, and if you can fly different types, if you have one type rating, if you can have 2-3 type ratings and fly them at the same time. So that's what today's podcast is going to be about. So make sure that you stay in it to the end, otherwise you might miss something, okay? So first of all, we should be differentiating between your licenses and your type rating, okay? In order for you to be able to do a type rating in the first place, you need to have all your licenses, okay? So that includes your CPL, instrument rating, MCC course, sometimes your ATPL theory, and your multi-engine rating. Okay, so that's your licenses. That's what you need in order to fly in commercial air traffic with multi-engine aircrafts and heavier, bigger multi-engine aircrafts. Okay, so that kind of is your core, what you need in order to work in the first place. Type ratings is something different. Type rating is a course on a specific aircraft. Okay, so it has nothing to do with your licenses. It assumes that you have your licenses, and it only tells you how to fly that specific aircraft. So why do we have that? Well, obviously there are hundreds of different big aircrafts out there. You can fly a Boeing 747, a Boeing 737, an Airbus 320, an Airbus 380. There are different types of Dorniers, of Gulfstream, Jetstream, Saabs, you name it. So all of these aircraft types are slightly different. They're fundamentally the same as in their aircraft. They will fly in the same way. So, that's why you have your licenses to start with, so that you understand the fundamental principles of aviation, aerodynamics, things like that, okay? But the systems will be different. The computers will be different. The way that the switches work and which system are connected to those switches will be different, and they will be in different places in the flight deck. So in order for you to be able to safely operate one of these aircraft, you need to do a type specific course on the aircraft that you're going to fly, and that's what's called a type rating. A type rating generally is about 2 months long. It includes a technical course. It includes a theoretical course on the aircraft, and then a practical course where you do a certain number of fixed base sessions where you're in a simulator which is not moving and just learning the systems, and then full flight sessions where you're flying a full flight simulator who's actually moving around in order for you to learn how the aircraft handles, how to deal with non-normals like engine failures after takeoff in different configurations, hydraulic malfunctions, things like that. Okay. Then after that, once you've done that, you will do a skill test on that particular aircraft type. And when you have done that and you have done some touch and go landings, normally a minimum of 6 touch and go landings in the real aircraft, then the aviation authorities that are issuing a license will issue you with a type rating. That means that you're allowed to fly that specific aircraft. Okay. Now, a lot of people are asking me whether or not they should buy a type rating themselves, and I am always very skeptical to telling people to buy their own type rating. Now, why is that? Well, if you go back historically, type ratings was always paid for by the airlines. Up to about 10 years ago, no one paid for their type rating. And there was a very good reason for that. The reason was that a type rating is normally very, very specific for the airline that you're going to fly. It's not only how to fly the aircraft, it's also what kind of standard operating procedures is the airline using, what callouts are they using, how do they want you to fly things, where do they want you to take flaps, gear, things like that. And that can be extremely different between different airlines. So there is always a generic type rating, like Boeing has a generic type rating that will just teach you how to fly a Boeing 737. But then every airline will have slight deviations and differences onto that type rating. So, for example, if you are a low-hour cadet, you have 250 hours of flight time, and you decide to buy yourself a type rating. Then you are going to go out, you're going to get the type rating, it's going to be written into your license, and then you go to an airline and you say, hey, listen, you fly the 737, I have the 737 rating, can you employ me? Most airlines will then respond and say, no. Unfortunately, we can only employ you as a direct entry first officer if you have both the type rating and also a minimum of, there's also difference between different airlines, but a minimum of around 500 hours on type. Why is that? Well, that is because if they are going to take you on as a low-hour cadet, they want to train you in the way that you fly the aircraft. So if you're going to a company and the company takes you in as a cadet, then they will provide you with a type rating. You might have to pay for it yourself, or you might be bonded and it might be deducted from your salary. But the main point here is that the airline knows that you don't have much experience and they want to teach you exactly how to fly the aircraft according to them. If they take you on as a direct entry first officer and you have 500 hours on type, then you will have experience enough on the type to be able to change your procedures from what you did with the airline to what you were doing now. Sorry guys, I'm just going to take this. Yeah. Okay, so where were we? Well, yeah, so you have more than 500 hours on type. It means that you have enough experience to be able to change your procedures over, because you know how to fly the aircraft, you know how to operate the aircraft, and therefore you will also see why the differences are in procedures, and you'll be able to do them, to understand them. Okay. But if you're coming out with only your type rating, 250 hours of flight time and a type rating, you've never actually flown the aircraft more than your touch and go landings, which means that you don't have that experience, and it's going to be very hard for you to change over the procedures. At least the airlines will not know whether or not you're flying the aircraft in the way that is safe. So in most cases, if you come in with 250 hours and a type rating, the airline might say, okay, we can take you on, we can employ you, but you're going to have to do the type rating again in our way, right? And that might sound unfair, it might sound like it doesn't make any sense, but it is because the company wants to control the way, well, they want to basically quality control you, make sure that you are up to scratch on how to fly the aircraft, and also it's likely that they will have in their insurance a mandate saying that you can only take on low-hour cadets providing that you have trained them according to your own type rating training organization standards. So that's the reason, and that's why I'm always a little bit skeptical when I hear that people are going to buy their own type rating, because unless you are guaranteed to get quite a lot of hours on the type that you're buying, it is actually quite likely that you will not be able to use it, and you might have to pay for the same type rating twice. And mind you, a type rating can cost anything from 15 to 30,000 euro depending on the type. So if you ask me, a type rating is only really interesting if you are guaranteed as part of your type rating to be operating for at least, I would say, 500 hours on that type after you've taken the type rating. So does that make sense? So if we summarize it, you need your CPL, your instrument rating, your multi-engine rating, your MCC course, and also in some cases your ATPL theory in order to be able to fly as a commercial pilot. And then on top of that, you will get type ratings on whatever type that you are going to fly. So the next question is then, can you operate multiple types? And you can have multiple type ratings in your license. Quite a few people that I know have that. However, it is unlikely that you will be allowed to fly all of those type ratings at the same time. Why is that? Well, it is because they're fundamentally so different that the airlines do not want to risk that you confuse the two different types. So that you're used to flying an Airbus, and the Airbus has a certain stall warning system, and then you suddenly fly a Boeing, and the Boeing has a different logic to the stall warning, and you mix them up so that you make a terrible mistake. Okay, it's things like that. So there are a couple of exceptions to that rule. For example, you might be able to fly an Airbus 320 and an Airbus 321, an Airbus 319 it's basically the same type rating. It is a possibility that in some cases you fly different Boeing types as well. This is different between different airlines. Some allow it, some don't. But in most cases you will only fly one type at a time. So in one employment you might fly one type, and then you might be able to, if you have multiple types in the airline, you might be able to apply to fly a different type, and in that case you're going to get a new type rating, and you will only fly the new type. Okay? So normally just one type rating active and used at any given time, with some small exceptions to that. Right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. As always, if you like this video, share it with your friends. Keep sending me questions, because I am basing all of these podcasts on the questions that you guys are sending me. I hope you're having a fantastic evening and a fantastic day, whichever part of the globe you're from. I'm getting a lot of attention from Australia at the moment. Hi guys, I know that you guys are on the other side of the globe, so it's probably going to be night for you now. But anyway, have a fantastic evening everyone, or whatever you are, and I'll see you next time.